Today's episode is brought to you by the premium content subscribers on the Golf Intervention Substack. And we would, of course, like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. You make it all worthwhile. If you would like to support the show or sign up for our free monthly newsletter, you can do that at thegolfintervention.substack.com or follow the link in the show notes.
And welcome back to the Golf Intervention Podcast. Rob Fales has a Superflex Dynasty startup draft tomorrow. What is going on? We're going to talk about that and other things today on the Golf Intervention Podcast.
Yep.
Welcome back, Rob Fales. We don't even have
Good to see you again.
We went live. I have to be real honest. I texted Robbie one line of what I was thinking we'd talk about. That's it. This is going to be live chatter. This is going to be really good. Because there's things I've got on my mind and I can't wait to kind of discuss it with Rob Fales. We've been off the air for a little while for good reason though. Robbie traveled with his Code Breakers group. And if you're not aware of what his Code Breakers group is, it's really, I think, golf instructors helping golf instructors is kind of what it feels like to me. Golf coaches out there doing some education. So they had a retreat and he had Raymond Pryor, Dr. Mike Kay.
Yes.
That had to have been phenomenal.
Familiar faces, right?
Familiar voices and faces to the Golf Intervention. And then I guess the week after we got an award, a PGA Sports Media Award for the Golf Intervention Podcast, which is pretty awesome. So we were at a black tie event in Washington, D.C., greater Washington, D.C. area. And we, in a very surreal moment, received a Sports Media Award from Jimmy Roberts of NBC Sports, Emmy Award
Jimmy
winning,
Roberts, yeah.
One of the all-time greats. I mean, big fan. I've been a big fan of Jimmy Roberts for many. It used to be on ESPN, if I believe I can remember correctly, but he's just good. And he was so good.
He's awesome.
He was so nice. And he said, quote, "I think I need a golf intervention." And I thought that was awesome.
He did.
He asked us some cool questions. He took pictures with us, was very kind. So it was...
I kept having flashbacks to the Olympics, like when watching the Winter Olympics, Summer Olympics, with his work with NBC, I always remember hearing his voice.
Yeah.
Right? And so I was like, where am I at right now?
He always has something poignant to say. That's the thing with Jimmy Roberts is he could take a moment and just say something really good. He told some cool stories, but just sitting on the stage. And I even said, it wasn't lost on me that I'm just a washed up driving range pro sitting on the stage, getting a Sports Media Award from the great Jimmy Roberts. And I just couldn't quite wrap my mind around that. So I want to thank the Middle Atlantic PGA section, the folks that nominated us and voted for us. That was pretty cool. And obviously all the hard work for the section office, the people that put that together was really fun. A couple of days, my wife went up and stayed with me. And then we had education the next day. So we had a PGA meeting in education. So anyway, there we are. And then last week, I think you were on the move again. So here we are. We're back with a brand new episode of the Golf Intervention Podcast. And most importantly, you have a startup fantasy football Superflex Dynasty draft coming up. And I have to admit, I'm a bit of a degenerate fantasy football player. I'm not going to lie. People come to me for advice.
Yep.
I've won many, many leagues, many, many times, and I love Dynasty. So Dynasty, for those of you who don't know, you just keep your players forever. You draft a team, and then Superflex means, you actually can play, you can play, a flex player, which we all kind of know, but it can be a quarterback in a Superflex. Yeah. So when you're drafting Superflex, quarterbacks become a very premium position.
Yes.
And I am, you can see by my shirt, if you're looking on video, a Steeler fan, born and bred.
We are wondering who is going to play quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Eric? Who's it going to be?
I'll take Mason Rudolph over the old dudes that they're trying to sign all day long. Give me Mason Rudolph at $4 million a year, sign a bunch of free agents, and then we'll go on. That's what I'm thinking. But your question was, you have the number one pick in a startup.
Of the 101. Yeah.
So I would say as a Steeler fan, so there's no bias here. There's a lot of Washington Redskins fans. I still call them the Redskins around here. Jaden Daniels has got to be in the conversation for that 101.
I think I'm going to click him.
Are you a Commanders guy? Is that your team?
I'm not a Commanders guy. I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I can tell you that. I mean, he's won me over, actually. Like, I really enjoyed watching him his last year there at LSU, actually. And so I was rooting for him in his first year, and to see him do as well as he did, I don't know. He's got a fan in me, so it's going to be hard not to click him.
So
for
good.
sure.
So I drafted him in Dynasty last year. Not super flex, but I'm really glad I did because he's awesome.
You got him probably late-ish, right? You probably got him like 5th? 6th,
I got him 10th. I got him
there?
10th because, it's, yeah, no, because I mean, yeah, no, it was a good pick.
That's absurd.
So
That's crazy. That's awesome.
quickly, some other names. I mean, I think Saquon is still in the conversation. When you play Dynasty, it's really I think it's a 3-year revolving window that you're looking at. I think Saquon has 3 really good years left. So I think Saquon still has to be in the conversation there. He's generational, unbelievable, could take you to the championship. Yeah, so I don't know. The wide receivers are all really good, Chase, Jefferson, but I think you got to get wide receiver later. So I don't know. I think it boils down to a few quarterbacks. Josh Allen's got to be in the conversation. He's got plenty of time, but Jaden Daniels he's got such a long career
rushing
ahead of, such a long career.
I know, only 24 and the rushing upside too.
He made football look really easy for a rookie last year. It was really pretty impressive. So he turned these Steeler fans who've been living in Commanders country for better part of 20 plus years. We started liking the Commanders last year too, because they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
So anyhow, back to the golf intervention.
Oh man, this is a golf podcast. This is not a fantasy football podcast. What?
Maybe we're setting up a spin-off show. That's what we're doing.
Ooh,
setting up a spin-off. Yeah, we could actually do.
I love it. Let's do it.
We have some
I think we could.
Golf pros are such degenerates. I mean, we could bring on some people who are pretty serious about fantasy football in all kinds of ways. So anyway, let's get back to
I think we should do it.
To the regularly scheduled program, the golf intervention. So we really came off a series on the golf swing, which we said we hadn't taken on the swing itself. We kind of took on everything else around the swing itself until the end. And we really had to take it on in a way that was like the golf intervention way, right? And what we thought about the swing in general, and how we currently understand it, because I think it's always an evolving thing, right? Like we learn things all the time. Like I learned things from Dr. Mike K that I hadn't really thought about before. And so the swing itself and its understanding is in a very evolutionary phase. I think a very good place if you're someone who likes to study the golf swing mechanics, but it's also in a very problematic place, in my opinion. And the problematic place is that people are obsessed with the golf swing. They're obsessed with it. And today's episode, when I texted you, I said, hey, maybe we do an episode on sort of like hidden pitfalls that are sort of impeding people's developments, right? Constraints, pitfalls, things that people don't realize are actually kind of like messing them up. And my biggest one on that currently has got to be the obsession with the look of the golf swing and this the
geometry, right?
Yeah, it's driving me nuts. If there's anything that you, as the listener, took away from that series that we did on the golf swing, which is kind of a loose series, few episodes. I count the Mike K episode in there a little bit on the golf swing. All that was golf swing stuff. Listen, if you take anything away, it's this. I'm gonna summarize it in a sentence that you need to remember. Okay, because I think very few golfers understand this, and I hate to say this. I think very few golf instructors understand this as well. So hopefully this is something that can be a positive across all groups of golfers and teachers. Ready? That your golf swing gives you access to your golf skills. Okay?
Yes.
Golf skills and golf swings are two different things. Okay? Now,
100%.
they're not completely, separate. But what I'm saying is the obsession with golf swings is killing golfers, killing them. And
100% agreed.
the problem is every time you open Instagram or every time, I would say Instagram's, I don't have TikTok. I think it's just as bad probably. Every time you open it up, you're just hit with all this crazy golf swing stuff. And I'm going to call it crazy golf swing stuff. And there's a trend that I'm seeing now of people who don't teach golf and frankly, probably don't play it very well. And they think they're golf swing experts. And they have these pages that I saw a guy, Robbie. I mean, this is where I kind of like, this post had 4,000 likes. It was some dude in corduroys with his pants hanging down, standing on a mat in a field, talking about how he's invented a golf swing that everyone should do. Okay. You need to close your stance 30 degrees, keep all your weight on your left foot throughout the whole swing and smash down on the ball. Boom. 4,000 likes. And I'm like, what are we doing? So here's the story. No one's inventing golf swings right now. That's not happening. Golf swings are just a thing. They're just born of people's development and of their understanding and of their movements and of their history. What we are seeing is that people have a very huge lack of understanding about what actually makes them score better. What actually makes them score better, right? It's not their swing. It's their ability to use their swing to create skills that produce shots in the moment that produce scores.
Right.
So we could, right? I mean, we've harped on this, through the thing, but it's starting to like kind of make me nuts. I just literally was sitting here waiting for you to come on. Jackson was he didn't want to go to bed tonight, it sounds like.
No. Yeah.
He was wanting to watch Bluey or something. Was Bluey on? Is he a big Bluey guy? Does he like Bluey?
He's big into reading at night. So I read him books
reading.
And he just kept, I was like, all right, Jackson, one more. And then I'd finish the book and he's like, no, one more. And I was like,
one more,
how can I possibly say no?
You can't say no. You can't say, listen, no. I have kids that love to read. You got to read to them. It's the best thing you can do. So as I'm sitting here scrolling through my stuff, there was this guy, one of these guys that doesn't teach golf, but he thinks he's a golf swing expert, pops up in my feed all the time. And he says, he can't understand why Cameron Champ isn't like the best player on the tour. Look at his swing. It's perfect. And here's video of him chipping. Well, look, there's nothing wrong with his chipping. Here's his putting stroke. Look, the mechanics of his putting stroke look fine. They look fine to me. He should be the best player on the tour. Could you miss the point anymore? Could you miss the point any more than that?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? There's plenty of people with swing. Yes, Cameron Champ has great speed. He hits the ball. I have no idea about what his stats are like. But your ability to produce shots when you need them in the way that you need to is the thing that give you the skills. That's where you have the skills to make the scores. Obviously, if he was making the scores, it's not the mechanics that are doing it, right? You could have Tiger Woods' putting stroke, but if you can't control the speed or read a green, you're going to be a terrible putter, right? So point being, if there's anything that you take away from what we were talking about before, is that the obsession with golf swings is probably, if you're one of those that is obsessed with the actual, like what you call the geometry or the look, or the sort of general understanding of mechanics of the swing, without understanding the relevance to how that gives you access to your skills, you are probably putting yourself in this terrible loop of trying this and trying that and changing this and changing that. Mm-hmm. And then guess what? Your access to your skills changes every time. And it probably doesn't immediately it may get better, may not get better. The feels are going to change. And then all of a sudden you're going to have to try to find that again as well. So I don't know, I'm a little bit, I said I was fired up. I guess I'm more fired up than I thought I was.
You are fired up.
I don't know what I had for dinner.
That was spicy.
That was spicy. But the point is, this is what we see as coaches.
But it's true, 100%. Yeah.
And isn't it fair? You teach at a place, you teach at a public facility, you probably see more cross-section of people than I do. And I'm lucky because a lot of the people that come to see me, they know me and they trust me. I've been teaching there for 18 years, right? So I don't have people walking in my bay who I teach a lot are like, hey, yeah, like, I saw this thing and I'm trying it tomorrow. Like, it doesn't happen a ton, right? What do you think about the Genghis internal shoulder thing? Like, that just doesn't happen a ton. Why? Because they trust what they're learning from their coaches, right? But I see it a ton in new students, and I see it from people who I'm friends with that play golf, right? Who are like trying to learn and get better outside of my country club world, right? Like friends of mine.
Yeah.
What are you seeing on your lesson team? It's kind of, are you seeing a similar deal out there of people kind of like constantly chasing their tail in their golf swing and not really?
Yes. Oh, 100%. And it usually comes out in the first few minutes. I'll ask them, how can I help today? Is really usually my first question I'll ask, even returning students. And it's amazing how often they jump straight to questions about positions of the golf club, where they are in space, right? I saw this video that says I need to do this, right? It's all the time. It's all the time. And so I'm constantly fighting that battle on the lesson tee of getting them to understand that the shot and the swing are separate, right? There's this whole skill piece in the middle that we need to not completely glance over, right? And what that actually looks like is very counterintuitive to a lot of golfers. Because, I mean, like going back to some of the Dr. Pryor stuff, we can talk about like A-shaped beliefs versus V-shaped beliefs, right? So I'm on the video, I'm making this this kind of an A shape between my two hands here, where the top is very little space between my fingers, the bottom quite a bit of space between my palms. So the top is going to be our perceived margin of error. The bottom is our perceived consequences. So a lot of people believe, again, swing creates shot, right? So they believe that if the shot isn't what they want, then it was a swing issue, right? And so it becomes this very much like, okay, was the shot good or bad, which is a subjective opinion. And then the only solution to bad shot is better swing. All right, well, what does that mean? Again, that's subjective as well. So we get out of this very sort of objective-based feedback loop of where is the bottom of the swing in space? Where is the face relative to the path? Where is the speed relative to your intent? Right? And we get into this very kind of judgmental, oh, well, if that ball didn't go where I wanted to, then there was something wrong with my swing, right? And that just gets golfers down this rabbit hole of believing they have to create this perfect golf swing to create quote unquote perfect shots. And I mean, there's nothing really more destructive to a golfer's long-term improvement than that belief, in my opinion.
Right.
Because the inverse, right? If I'm going to go the opposite, right? So you got V-shaped beliefs, right? On the top is a ton of perceived margin of error. At the bottom is very short-term, temporary external consequences, right? So if we believe that, hey, I can swing the club, but really the things that are creating the shot are the skills, which there are three main ones, and they're always predictions, right? So we don't know before swinging the golf club exactly where the bottom of the swing is going to be, where the face to path is going to be, where the speed is going to be, right? So I'm making a very much a kind of like a feel prediction of those three skills with the swing that I have, assuming I'm swinging freely, right? Which is the thing that kind of stacks the odds in our favor that we produce our prediction, which is what a lot of people are looking for. But if we start to understand like, hey, I don't have control, like I can swing the club in a lot of different ways, right? To create the shot that I'm trying to create, as long as I'm getting better at predicting those skills, right? And for me, that opens golfers up to say, oh, like I don't have to have this idea of this amazing, like perfect golf swing. I can actually take what I have currently and go out and play a lot better golf, play a lot freer golf, right? And have more perceived, more predictability over what the golf ball is doing, which is a fun thing to show golfers. And oftentimes they'll say, oh, I wasn't really expecting that. I was like, yeah, good. It's probably the best compliment you give me.
Right. Yes, I totally agree, because then they're chasing, to your point where you were saying they blame the swing for the shot, right? Then they chase, they want to change, right? So this will happen in a lesson sometimes. And I know you coach people up on this. This is a mindset change, in my opinion, is like, hey, I know this thing's going on. We do some diagnostics. We're doing what, we're trying to help them through the process of whatever it is they're working on. Could be swing change, could be skill work, could be something, right? And there's a percentage of people that'll make like a swing at it and go like, well, that didn't work. Like, I hit that bad. Or I didn't.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And we know, like,
yeah.
Well, I know you hit it bad. I was watching. Like, I watch thousands of shots every day, and I know you hit that bad. Let's relax for a second, and let's work through that intent again, and again and again, and see where it goes. Right? Always try to judge: are we going the right direction? Are we going the wrong direction? But the point is, you're not gonna gain control of whatever it is we're working on in a swing. It's not gonna happen in one swing. So you've got to sort of work through it a little bit. But what happens if you're not being coached up? I'm someone who's intelligent. I'm a hard worker. I research things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a figure outer, right? For lack of a better term, like, hey, something's wrong with my car. I'm going to try to figure that out, right? I'm going to figure out what's going on there. Or, hey, something's going on with my health. I'm going to try to figure that out, right? Before I go to the doctor or with the doctor, I'm going to do my own research. All that stuff is good, right? There's benefit to all that. And in golf too, probably. But at the end of the day, then, you're taking this perceived knowledge that you have and you're trying to infuse it into something that you don't have a great feel for. And I'm just being honest with you, right? Most golfers don't have a great feel of where their body and club are as they're swinging it. They don't. So what feedback are they getting? They hit the shot and they go, bad shot, bad swing, bad shot, bad swing, right?
Yeah.
And no, on the Instagram, P1, P3, P5, P whatever.
I was told this is bad. That means this must be good, right?
I saw 3 different things, and I swear I don't try to look at me. It's just like as you're flipping through reels, like I love reels, by the way. Like if there's anything I like about social media, it's the hysterical like 30-second reels that people do on all kinds of things. Like they just crack me up, right? So like if I'm bored and I'm like, chilling in my bed or I'm flipping through, drinking my coffee, and these things pop up, and I saw another do these 2 things for a perfect backswing. Perfect backswing. There's no, write this down, people.
There's no perfect backswing.
There's no such thing as a perfect backswing. And all that tip can do is hurt you because you're going to search for the perfect backswing, right? And you're going to try to do it because you have a belief. So here's another thing. This while I'm fired up about it. These people know they're not helping anybody. Okay. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to gain their.
They're giving people what they want.
Correct.
People want, yes.
They're using that to get what they want, which is eyeballs on them. Right. And that gives them influence. They know full well in places that they don't talk about in public that they are quote unquote helping nobody. It's just part of what they do to get eyeballs on themselves. Now, am I being critical about? I'm not trying to be critical, but I do want to protect my students. If you tuned into the golf intervention, it's because we think you need an intervention, right? And that part of the intervention is I don't know what I don't know. That's why we called this show what we called it. It starts with I don't know what I don't know. That's why we start with it. And in this sense, you have to realize that random swing information isn't going to help you. And I have a good story on this from the other day. Gentleman came in, super smart guy, retired a couple years, actually very good. I mean, he's a newer member, just a couple years. Didn't know him very well. Good looking swing. Like if you take, geometry of the swing, he looked like if you watched him from the other end of the range, you'd go like, oh, that guy can swing, right? He's good balance and rhythm and follow through. And he came to me and he said, Eric, I just can't play. I can't play. This is the first lesson, right? Okay, what's the problem? I hook everything like miles. I'm like, okay. So we start kind of looking at it and we do the diagnosis and I'm like, you know what? Here's what I think. This is what you're doing. I think you did a little too much of this, too much of that. And he is one of these ones that would do a lot of research, read a lot of YouTube, a lot of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Eric, I had an epiphany about 3 months ago. And he said, what if I'm wrong about all the things I think I know? And he goes, not on purpose, but I just realized I was wrong about all the things I thought I know. not because he didn't know good things. He wasn't interpreting it to his swing quite right. Right. He didn't
putting it into context, right?
correct. So the point is it was 5 minutes. He's hitting it better. Right. It's just a couple little things we were unwinding. No big deal. But at the end of the day, if you are going to work on your swing and you think you need to work on your swing, you probably need coaching. That's kind of, we keep saying it on this show. You can do a lot
Especially if it's always the first domino, or if it's always the first thing you're trying to do. Like, again, what we've said in the past is it's probably a 4 or 5 down the list, right? I can, off the top of my head, like, number 1 would be like scoring strategy. Like, are you aiming in places that's not allowing you to swing freely because you know you don't have the margin of error on one side that you do on the other, right? So that could be one. Your shot process, right? Are you not predicting lie, slope, and wind and how they're going to influence your golf ball? Therefore, you're standing over it and then you're trying to use your golf swing to make up for errors that were really in the prediction phase of this, right? 3 would just be the overall mindset that you're bringing to your play on the golf course. Are you more of like fixed mindset or growth mindset in terms of how you're approaching your game, right? Is this something where it's like, okay, you've either got it or you don't? Or are you always looking for opportunities to learn and improve, which don't always feel like playing well, right? So that would, in what we know through the research and what Dr. Pryor shared with us at Code Breakers, is that your mindset is a strong predictor of performance. Strong predictor. If you're bringing, and it fluctuates by the way, but if you're bringing a fixed mindset into what you're doing, you're going to feel in general, you're going to feel more anxiety, which is going to disrupt your skills and disrupt your rhythm. Simple as that, right? So
and stunt your learning.
There's correct. Yeah. So there's 3. All right. And then we haven't even gotten into skill. There's 4. And then from the swing standpoint, are your clubs fit for you? Are you in posture? There's 5.
Right.
Are you holding the club in a functional way? Right. So like that's all happening before the club starts moving.
Right. And so the reason why
there's just so many options.
Yeah. And the reason why that's not the popular discussion on Instagram is because it's hard to package that up in 30 seconds in a way that's interesting or attractive or, for lack of a better term, sexy, like something that you're going to look at and click on. Like, you're going to look at, she's, we'll click on this one and watch it. Right. Like that's kind of how it goes. And, it is what it is. Like I guarantee you, if you took one of those influencers and had them do a mindset, like a mindset clip, I'm going to guess it doesn't get a lot of clicks, right? Processes are boring, but processes are vital. Like they're the absolute most vital thing. And so you just ran through a bunch of stuff that I was going to say, like, what are the pitfalls, right? You just ran the list down.
Yeah.
Right. You just ran down the list of stuff. No, it's perfect because it's all I really wanted to talk about today is like, what are the things that people don't realize are holding them back? And you just went through the list because they always think it's their swing. Now, some people will go like, some people have some good awareness of like scoring strategy. They'll go like, Eric, I've got no clue about scoring strategy. Or Eric, I've got no routine on the course. I don't know how to judge slope. I think there is some awareness on those for sure. The adaptability and predictability piece. But skill training or practice habits or, what are your capabilities from your body or your limitations from your body? Like equipment is very misunderstood and underestimated. Like equipment is huge for everybody that plays this game. So no, it's not the arrow over the Indian or whatever that saying is. Like you've got to have equipment that works for you, or it's going to be, you're making golf harder on you, right? On yourself than anything. It's like you're going to blame your swing for things that have nothing to do with it. Right.
Yes.
I mean, I see it all the time, but I'm lucky. I work with a lot of people who are very growth minded. I mean, I think that's a product of probably being pretty successful in life, like being able to learn and grow and understand. And so it's pretty fun. I'm not going to lie. Like the last few weeks have been extremely busy. I mean, it was like the worst winter we've had in probably 6 or 7 years in Virginia. Snow on the ground for weeks at a time. And then it was like there was a Saturday afternoon. Okay, we had all the bay doors down and in simulators for weeks. And then we're looking at the forecast. We're like, oh, the snow's going to melt Friday. By Saturday at lunchtime, it's going to be 50 degrees. This was like 3 weeks ago. So at lunchtime, we opened all the bay doors up, and it was like the season hit. It was just Katie bar the door. It's been nuts ever since.
Yeah.
So we've been really, really busy, and it's been fun. It's been fun kind of getting back into the groove of teaching a bunch of lessons. But people want to play better. And I think that when we're doing this, we do this for one reason. And I think everybody gets it that tunes in, because we don't ask for anything, and we're just like two dudes in sweatshirts talking on a microphone. We just want you to play better. There's answers out there. And we're hoping that we can guide you on a process as you enter 2025 golf season, that you could just play better and not necessarily have to swing better, quote unquote, to do it. Right. So,
right.
Man, I don't know if I'm still ranting. I kind of feel like I'm still ranting. I'm going to end rant. But hard stop, end rant. And we're going to talk about other pitfalls, although you kind of named them all. So what else you want to talk about? So it's good, because I feel like what I was going to name as the hidden pitfalls was going to be fixed mindset versus growth mindset.
Yeah.
It's going to be the equipment.
Yeah. We can go into that some more. I think that'd be good.
I have to be honest. This will be episode 41 when we put, and one of my favorite episodes of all of them was the one we called, I think it was called Mindset. Was it called Mindset? A Golfer's Secret Superpower, I think is what I titled it.
Yeah.
And I could listen to that episode over and over again. There's so much good stuff, and you were the lead on that. It's really, really good. And I kind of told the story, like I went to UVA, which my son's at UVA, which is obviously one of the great universities in the world. And when we went to the parents' orientation, this world-renowned author, like she's literally written like 5 best-selling books. She's a psychologist. She leads their She got up and did a whole presentation on the same research, Carol Dweck, growth versus fixed mindset. Yep. And I was like, this is incredible. It was like 2 weeks before we had recorded this episode. So if you haven't listened to that, I don't have the number in front of me, but we call it Mindset, the Golfer's Secret Superpower. Please go back and listen to that episode. It is not just about golf, obviously, it's about life. But when you think about the foundation for what it is in anything you want to develop or succeed in, is it not mindset, Rob Fales? Like, is it not? Give us,
starts, right?
Yeah, it's where it starts. So give us some insight. What did Dr. Pryor go into some of this more in depth in the Code Breakers retreat? Like, what was the story there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did 2 presentations each. So basically 6 hours of total presentation time on mindset.
6 hours on the mindset. I'm going next year.
Yes.
I'm in next year. I sorry I had to miss, but I will not miss again.
We're very hopeful that we'll be able to get him back next year.
Have we picked a location for next year?
Still going back and forth.
Okay.
Likely Skokie Country Club in kind of greater Chicago area, or Garrett Trissard is a DOI.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Is kind of the current hypothesis, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Dr. Pryor just really went incredibly deep on it for 2 days, and I'm kind of overwhelmed right now thinking about it. But a couple of the big things that I took away from it was just the power of questions, and like how you can ask golfers some very, very relevant, vital questions that get them to kind of understand the difference and get them more aware of like where they're currently at. And so like a really good question would be like, why are we here today? Mm-hmm. Right. So like, are we here to look better, or are we here to get better? Right. And so that's the first thing, like when golfers come to the range, ask yourself that question first. It's like, all right, am I here to look better or am I here to get better? And if you're really the key to this is being honest with yourself, because I know there are so many times in my golfing history where I've gone to the practice facility and I've chosen to do the thing that I knew was going to make me look the best.
Oh, so you were
Right?
going to make an Instagram post with your swing in slow motion?
No, like
Come
just
on,
like
come on,
okay,
be honest, be honest.
my
It's-
skill. Let's say
yeah.
my skills have been my skills have been really lining up with my short game. Right, so I'm going to go over the short game and hit some like nippy little low spinners from perfect lies, right? And just in case if someone watches me, in case someone looks over, right, they're going to see me hitting these shots. And so the underlying thing there is like, that's me trying to protect my perception of how other people are perceiving me.
It's very
so like
much,
when you peel the onion back, it's like, okay, well, why is that the case? Like almost like keep asking why. It's like, okay, like valuing others' perceptions over your own. That's a very, very common bias, turns out. Like humans tend to, some humans, and not everyone's the case, and it changes from activity to activity. But many of us, when it comes to how we're perceived, we value others' perceptions over our own, right? And so that's a big domino. It's like, hey, like, is other people's perceptions relevant to the task? The answer is no.
0%.
Do you feel better? Right, exactly. Does worrying about what other people think make you feel better or worse? Worse. Do you perform better or worse? Worse, right? So like, again, you're asking people these questions and they're very just like, and you got to be honest with them and probably be in a safe space to where they feel open to actually answering them. But if you can just ask these like kind of very sort of like leading, honest questions, you can really get someone to kind of turn around their behaviors. So I think that's a big one. I think when it comes to mindset, I mean, gosh, there's so many that we could go down. Why are we here? Are you here to find a guarantee? All right, that's another good one. It's like, okay, like, do you believe that there is a guarantee? And then the answer is no, right? So there's no guarantee that if you swing the club in this way that you're going to hit the shot that you want, right? There's no guarantee that if you work X hard, you're going to get the results that you want, right? There is no guarantee that if you subscribe to this training program, right, you're going to get to this point at this point in time, right? So a lot of times we go down these rabbit holes to try to guarantee the outcome, right? And again, oftentimes that search for a guarantee is really what it is it's avoiding a future outcome that we're not willing to accept. Is typically what it is, right? So I had a lesson with a student just last week, and he just came to me and was like, I've got to eliminate the ball going right. I have to eliminate it.
Zero golfers in history have eliminated the ball going right.
I need you. And basically coming to say like, hey, like I'm looking to guarantee that I don't hit that shot again. And so what was so funny is like on the range, he was actually hitting it fine. Like he'd hit a couple balls right of target, a couple balls left of target. He was talking about a big miss to the right. And I mean, he was performing to, I'd say, about a 5 handicap. But when I asked him his average score, he said low 90s, high 80s. All right, so on the range, right, the huge discrepancy. So turns out when he's going on the golf course, he has a mindset around, okay, if I hit that out of bounds shot to the right, I'm basically cooked for the day.
I'm done. Mentally, I'm done.
you're done.
Done.
Right. So that outcome for him has become so threatening that he's going into full on avoidance mode on the golf course. It's like, okay, I've just got to steer this thing. Like, I've got to try to guarantee, I've got to make sure. It's just increasing tension levels, which is making those skills even more variable. So we had to have a pretty honest conversation. It's like, hey, like before we actually work to reduce the frequency of that happening, you've got to understand that there is 100% possibility that we could, with whatever we do, like you stand on the golf course tomorrow, step on that first tee and hit that same shot. You could do it. It could happen. You could do it for the first couple holes. You could do it for all 9 holes. You could go an 18-hole round hitting that ball uncontrollably to the right. Like, yeah, that would suck. But is it truly worth like employing this avoidance-based strategy? And like I asked him some questions about like, okay, like how does your swing feel when you just try to steer it out there? It's like, oh, it feels terrible. Like I don't swing like that on the range, but on the golf course it feels awful. Like, all right, well, you know, one of the stories Dr. Pryor shared at Code Breakers, let the several subsets of the armed forces use kind of this stage 1, stage 2 regret kind of model. And there might actually be a stage 3 regret, but I only right now remember the first 2 stages. Stage 1 is we did it the way we wanted to do it and it didn't work out, which I personally wouldn't even call regret, but that's what they call it. Stage 2 is we didn't do it the way we wanted to do it and it didn't work out, right? Which is, again, that's the one that they're trying to eliminate. Like they're trying to reduce as much as possible. Is if they go off mission, like if they go off of the like their procedure or kind of the operation, and they lose someone, like that is unacceptable to them. Whereas, you know, they are accepting prior to going into that mission is like, okay, we're going to do this thing the way that we've decided to do it. If we lose someone, that's going to suck, but we're not going to lose someone because we went off script, because we decided to prioritize this outcome over the mission.
Yeah.
And so again, that's what it is. It's just prioritizing the outcome over the processes that make the outcome more or less likely. And so, yes, of course, the outcome is important to us. Of course, we want to hit the fairway. Of course, we want to hit the green. Of course, we want to shoot low scores. Like, of course, those things are important to us, but are they relevant? Right? And the answer is no, because outcomes are by definition always off time. So outcomes always already happened or haven't happened yet.
Interesting. Yeah.
Right. So when you think about outcomes, they are always off time. Therefore, they are irrelevant to the task. Again, difference between being important to us and being relevant. They are not relevant. You do not need to be placing your attention on outcome when you're actually performing the skill. And I just think that's such an important distinction between what's important versus what's relevant. The best players in the world are able to filter out what is relevant better than all of us, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty Scheffler, he was in jail, right? He literally got sent to jail the morning of the PGA?
PGA Championship, yeah.
PGA Championship, yeah. Warming up in his jail cell, right? So he was able to, that day, still shoot, what did he shoot, 67?
Shot under par, yeah.
Like
Shot under par, yep. It's crazy.
So you talk about filtering out what's irrelevant. Like, that's a masterclass in that. I mean, there's nobody better on earth than filtering out irrelevant information, I think, than Scotty.
Yeah, I think he's the best. I mean, I do this with junior golfers, and frankly, I could probably do it with adult golfers too, but it's just the relationship's a little different, right? Like you get a 14-year-old boy in your bay who's trying to make his varsity golf team, and and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
they're saying things and you're like, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. In your mind, you're like,
Doesn't
not
matter.
relevant, not relevant, not relevant, not relevant. So
Yes.
I'll draw a diagram, right? Like I just draw a diagram or we make a list of like, I'll say, well, how does this affect your score, right? Like, how does this affect me, right? Does it go inside what matters in the circle or does it go outside the circle of what matters? And so I do this. I don't do it all the time. I do it when necessary, right? It's powerful when they take it home and they're like, oh yeah, like that wasn't relevant. This was relevant.
Yeah.
Like, well, Eric, I couldn't warm up. There wasn't any time to warm up. Did anybody warm up? No. Okay. So like, we kind of go through all these different parts of their story to get them just focused on what matters, right? Because they're just worried about everything. And I think that's
Totally.
golfers just in general. There's a lot to get focused on. There's a lot out there. There's all kinds of things.
Right?
You could be distracted
Yeah.
by so many things that are irrelevant to your score. And
100%.
To your point, if you're worried about people's perceptions of you, that's it. Like that could not be any less relevant, right? Like even as a golf pro chipping on the chipping green, like, oh, someone sees me. I'm the golf pro. Like I better do this well. Like it's still irrelevant.
Gosh, yeah.
It's still irrelevant. So you have to, and this goes back to the thing about the golf swing stuff. It's just like, to your point, no, at P3, the shoulder, this and that, like all this stuff we see, it's not going to guarantee you anything, right? And the guy
There's no guarantee.
You're telling the story about a guy who's fixated on where he doesn't want his ball to go when he's playing golf.
Yes.
And you can't.
Does not feel good.
It does not feel good. We've all been there, by the way. I know this
Yes,
because I've
absolutely.
been there. I've been there too. I had a big right miss, but at the end of the day, you can't focus on what you don't want to have happen, right? You have to focus on what you do want to have happen. And that's a positive mindset that helps you guide you through this whole process. And hopefully the things you do want to have happen are also relevant at the same time, because there could be an irrelevant part of that equation. So
100%. And just the things that I got two other things that are coming to mind as you're talking. Again, the things that are irrelevant are off time, right? So if we think about things that haven't happened yet, I think it's helpful to reiterate the fact that the future is always uncertain. Again, like when it comes to the skills, I don't care who you are, you don't know, you never know exactly where the bottom of the swing is going to be in space. You don't know. Right? You don't know exactly where the club face is going to be relative to the path at impact. Right?
Definitely don't know that.
You will never know prior to swinging the golf club. And there is nothing that anyone can tell you that will make you know prior to swinging the golf club.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For some of you, this might be sounding like I'm like kicking your cat or something, like I'm telling you Santa Claus isn't real. Right? Because this is like what people go, when people get in really, really dark and stormy places in their golf game, it's when they're trying to find certainty in something that is always uncertain.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then the belief becomes, oh, I have to control everything that I possibly can. Right. And so that becomes control, or I just have to control everything. So I got to control the future, which means I need to worry about it. I have to control the past, which means I need to ruminate about it, right? I need to control all of these things, maybe that are on time, but not relevant, right? So it just becomes this laundry list of conditions, right? And this is another, he said, if you hear people say common things like, if I can just do this, and if I can just do this, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? If I could just do that, then I'll be able to enjoy the game. Right? These are the people, this is not the people, but this is the state of mind that we're talking about. That is very common, that we see every day. It's like all of these conditions that we believe that we have to impose upon ourselves in order to play well. And we went through, it was kind of a fun little exercise I did with another attendee. Part of the thing we love about Code Breakers is that there's some talent there's a lot of talent in the room, right? So you get to brainstorm with other kind of like-minded folks. We were talking about what are the actual conditions necessary to playing your best. All right. Well, number one, you got to get to the tee on time. You got to get to the first tee on time, right? Got to do that. You got to have all your clubs, or you got to have at least however many clubs you need to play, right? You got to have a certain number of golf balls. I don't know how many, right? But you need to have golf balls, right? Don't need a tee. You can play golf without a tee. You can play golf without a glove. You can play golf without a warm-up. You can play golf without liking your playing competitors. You can play golf without having good weather, right? You can't play in lightning, but you can play all sorts of different conditions. You don't have to have a certain cut of grass. You don't have to have a certain wind direction. You know, like all of these things, like there's pretty few conditions that are actually true to playing your best. And again, like the Scotty thing, kind of what made me talk about, like, because if people think, oh, I've got to have this 45-minute warm up and I've got it. Oh, and then another one that you hear, like that I see all the time is like people practice to try to find that, like, oh, I've got to hit a couple good ones just to tell me that tomorrow is going to be okay. Right. Again, finding that certainty. And this is where you're like, all right, last ball. And they hit it off the toe. Like, no, last ball.
Got to handle a good
And
one.
they'll just keep going. You got it. And like, I've stopped doing that completely. Like, no, you do not have to end on a good one. What happens if you're playing the 18th hole and your last full swing is a shank? Right? You're going to be ending on that shank, right? And you've got to pre-accept. Here's the deal. Again, if it's when we don't pre-accept everything or in anything and everything that could possibly happen, this is when we start creating like these very, very kind of conditional avoidance strategies. We have to be willing to accept, not have to, but like could be helpful, right? Could be helpful. If we accept,
we should be willing
pre-accept,
to.
we could strive toward, again, I'm trying not to impose conditions on people, but it's hard. We could strive toward accepting all potential future outcomes, right? It's like a radical acceptance, right? Because people, like, they judge the shot. They judge every single shot as either, and they know they're going to do it beforehand, right? And that's where a lot of this anxiety comes in. It's like, all right, here we go. This is going to be a good one or a bad one, right? And just like stop, like just play around a golf where it's just like, okay, the ball was here. It is currently there. End of sentence. Stop. Right? That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that happened, right? The ball was here. Now it's there. All right. Now the task is, can you put one foot in front of the other until you get to the golf ball? Put your clubs down. Figure out how far you're going to hit it. Figure out what direction you're going to hit it. Take your club out. Do whatever you hit the shot, right? And then wherever that ball went is now where the ball is, and go do that, right? And just repeat that and just get out of this judgment, right? That was a good shot. That was a bad shot. Again, it feels good to our brain to tell us that the shot was good. But the problem is that's a double-edged sword, because if you're always judging it when it's good, it's going to make you feel twice as crappy when you're judging, which, by the way, golf, you're going to hit more shots that you're going to perceive as poor relative to the ones that you perceive as great, right? You're going to be beating yourself up it's not worth it. I can promise you. Like, the high that you get from like saying, oh, that was amazing, is not worth the low that you get from beating yourself up constantly throughout a round of golf. And I'm not saying don't enjoy good shots, but enjoy playing shots for the enjoyment of the feeling of playing the shot itself. Like, I guarantee you, when you hit the ball out the center of the face, that feels a heck of a lot more pleasurable than hitting out the toe or the heel. Or like when the ball goes in the direction that you want, generally, that feels a heck of a lot more fun and better than when the ball's not, right? And just appreciate that. I've told players, like, hey, you can go have the best burger in town and enjoy the burger, but you don't have to write a review, right? You can go to a restaurant and have like the food took forever, right? It was undercooked, whatever. You can say, all right, well, I caught him on a bad night, right? Or just I got a bad one. All right. But you don't have to leave a review.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay. Right. That was just one. Right. You don't have to label yourself as a bad golfer or a great golfer. You don't have to, like, all these subjective opinions that we're layering on top of this are not helping, in my opinion. So I guess that was my rant. So and rant.
It was a good.
Stop.
We're ranting tonight. We won't rant all the time. Every now and again we rant. It's okay. That's because we desire everyone to enjoy the game because I enjoy it at a high, very high level.
Yes.
And just
playing the game, like literally just playing the game is enjoyable.
Oh my gosh. I mean, right? Just like being in nature.
It's awesome.
Yeah. We're going to get to that. You get those feelings this time of year because, here we have the dormant Bermuda grass and it's starting to, it's starting to turn green, and then, the trees are blooming and the leaves start popping out and the sunshine is out and the days are warmer, and like you start to realize what it is why you connect to this game so much, right? Because you're in this environment that's so inspiring. It feels so, it's just good for your whole soul, in my opinion, right? Like my opinion, there's going to be one sport in heaven, and it's golf, like, period. Like it's the Lord's game, is my opinion. So like, you feel that. You feel it when you're playing it. It's meant to be in nature. And it's like, if we go out there and we lose that context, if we lose that, like, everything turns into a judgment on our self-worth every time we hit a shot, and we forget like how blessed we are to just be on a beautiful piece of property hitting a golf shot. Like it's so cool. And I think if we can always keep that in mind, you're going to play better. You're going to play in a more enjoyable way. You'll play freer. You'll play better, probably. I mean, there's no guarantees, as you said, but like,
oh my gosh. And that's, we didn't get even into that, but like, there's been, when you talk about the effects of being off time versus on time. So like when you're present, typically the downstream effects of being present is going to be drastically reduced tension levels, improvement of the quality of your breath. All right. So going back to Dr. Mike K, okay. Your swing literally feels easier, freer, and more fun. Like literally the act of swinging the golf club feels like a fun activity, or a more fun activity, when you're present, like from start to finish. Like, hey, like if you can stay present to whatever you're doing from when that club breaks away to the end of the swing, I can promise you it's going to be a more fun and enjoyable experience than if you're always saying, okay, I've got to make sure this outcome doesn't happen, or I've got to make sure that prior outcome doesn't happen again, or I've got to make sure this looks like a good swing in front of my buddies, or I got to like make sure that I do these 16 things that I've been told that I have to do, right? That does not feel as much fun as, or is nearly as effective as being present, right? And on time and on task.
No question about it. So I guess our rants today were really about how we tend to get in our own way when it comes to our golf performance, right? I mean, that kind of what we were talking about.
Yeah, this will be like a mindset constraint, right? Like how more of like a fixed mindset can create a constraint.
And I think that, when we started off with my rant on the golf swing stuff, it's just, that's part of the whole story, right? Like that's part of the mindset too, is like understanding what is relevant to you. And I just kind of feel like, again, just chasing our tails with trying to change our swing every day. It's just not or every swing. Hey, I've got this new swing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But at the end of the day, yeah, you've got to be a little weary about who you're listening to when it comes to that, what their intentions are, right? And make sure that you're well aware that you should only be listening to people that are really, truly invested in your performance, right? Like that's totally the way I would look at it.
And And if you're going to change your swing, if you're going to go down that rabbit hole, just make sure it wasn't the very first thing, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then number two, make sure we're doing it for the right reasons. So couple things that I share with my players is like, we change swing when it's going to reduce the likelihood of injury, or if like there's a way that we get you moving the club that alleviates pain, right? So that's going to be a great reason to change swing. We change swing to make it more efficient in terms of club head speed or ball speed, right? So less perceived effort, but more club head speed, more ball speed. And then third, we do it to bias your skills in a desirable way, or like a way that is more matching your intent, right? So if your swing is really biasing your skills in a certain way, we can change your swing, or we can improve your swing, or however you want to think about it, to adapt and change the bias of those skills.
Mm-hmm.
But we do not change swing to guarantee an avoidance of outcomes that we don't accept, right? And that's the biggest thing is like, if I just do this, it's going to make, then this future outcome I'm not willing to accept is not going to happen. There is no swing on earth. There's no such thing as a golf swing that can do that.
Yeah, there's no guarantees. And I think that's the crux of this episode. I think that was the whole point. So thank you, Rob Fales. I think that worked out pretty well.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to add? I mean, do you have any other names you wanted to add to the potential list who you're thinking of at the 1-1 in the Dynasty Superflex League? I mean, I got some other names. Like, I'm a big fan of the running back from Boise, and I know we haven't seen him on the field yet, but man,
I can't do it.
I'm just going to tell you
with a startup.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to tell you right now. Kid is special. Write it down.
He's special. He just hasn't. Again,
you can't tackle him.
I could see. Oh my gosh, the stiff arm. He's like, I don't know.
He's impossible to tackle. The Penn State played him. If you go back and watch the Penn State game, Penn State bottled him up for the most part. Like every time he got the ball, there was 4 people, and Penn State has athletes that Boise State couldn't handle. Right? Like
correct.
These people are outrageous athletes. He still ran for a bunch of yards and he still had 12 forced missed tackles in the game, like in a game where he was bottled up. Like it was outrageous. Like this guy is outrageous.
He somehow accelerates through contact.
Like
when he gets contacted.
Balance, yeah, you can't tackle him. He's super strong. I don't know what the deal is. Contact balance, whatever. There's something he has. He has it. It's like Emmitt Smith a little bit in that way, but he might be a little faster than Emmitt. I don't know. He's pretty impressive. But anybody else?
No, I think it's going to be It's probably going to be Jaden. Which I'll be happy with.
Yeah, go.
I don't think I can go wrong.
Go with your guy. It'll be fun to root for.
He's my guy.
Hey, if he's your guy, you got to go with your guy. Well, people, thanks for tuning in. If you have any thoughts for Robbie on who he should draft, let him know.
Send him in the next.
Send him in. He's got a few days.
7 hours. No, I've got 7 hours. It starts
7 hours. Okay, so this episode will not be out before then, but we'll get an update next time. And if you want us to do a spinoff show, let us. We've got plenty of degenerate golf professional friends that we could do a show. All right, Rob Fales. Well, thank you for indulging me in another episode of the Golf Intervention Podcast. Appreciate your time and your thoughts. And we will be back again next time with another exciting episode. No ranting next time. It's gonna be more fun next time. Be lighthearted.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Hey,
cheers.
Cheers. Have a great night.